we make the sound of the satellite, breaking through gravity. I am Jagger 67. I'm affected, you're selected. I want you with your twisted hair and your lip ring stare.
One final race, one final chance, and 5 drivers still dreaming of becoming world champion. Welcome to Brasilia, Brazil for the final round of the 7th season of the ISR AIC, and after 9 rounds of racing, we've arrived at the moment that will decide it all. Elliott Hall arrives at the head of the standings, but the rookie's remarkable campaign is not yet complete. Ed Cantwell and Jack Tolchard remain firmly in contention, while Craig McDonnell and Andrew Pavia have kept their championship hopes alive all the way to the finale. 5 drivers, 1 championship, 1 final race. The mathematics are about to become just as important as racing itself. Who needs to win? Who needs their rivals to falter? And who can afford to simply keep the car on the road? Before the lights go out in Brasilia, we need to break down the permutations. 5 names, 1 destiny, and the Season 7 World Championship is waiting to be decided. Of course, the announcement for the next battle, ISR AIC Season 8, is out now. As a reminder, you can go watch that at any time. But for one last time this season, here is your battlefield. The permutations, ladies and gentlemen, for your Season number 7 Championship. It's very simple. Elliott Hall must not lose more than 2 points to Cantwell. Ed Cantwell must finish 8th or higher. Jack Tolchard must finish 3rd or higher. Craig McDonnell must finish 2nd or higher. And Andrew Pavia must win. These are the minimum that these drivers need to achieve this weekend in order to win the championship. As you can see, the extended permutations of what they need from their rivals is available below them as well. There's many scenarios here, and joining me for this epic battle is once again Zach Swader.
It's great to be here, Toby. We've came from Australia all the way to Brazil for one final showdown between these 5. The favorites right now are Elliott Hall and Ed Cantwell, separated only by 2 points. But these rest of these guys have a great chance, but they're going to need some luck in order for it to win the championship. There's going to be a lot of shaking and baking. There's going to be a lot of strategy that might need to happen. But you know, anything can happen in this, and it usually does. But I think we're going to be in for a fantastic race, as Elliott Hall looks to be one of the few rookies, if not the only rookie, to ever win a ISR championship in the AIC in their rookie year. But let's take a look at the circuit today, and here for a circuit of the Autodromo de Brasilia. And it is a fantastic track. It's very long, it's very sweepy as we're coming down to the first on the long straightaway into the Curva de Scavona in turn 1. And the longest straightaway of the Julio Della Mare straight is very long, probably one of the longest on the calendar outside of Spa this season, as we're coming into a nice sweeper in the Democo turn. Little bit sketchy, as we saw right there, Christian Rausloff. As we coming into the circuit Curva de Pesquina, a little slight left-hander as we go into Juncao, a very technical section. It comes right from the right-hander into the left-hander, as a little bit of slight sweepers connects this section into the infield part of the middle section of the corners. As we come into Bruxa, little slight left-hander into a small straight going into the next left-hander of Opasta. This is one of the most technical tracks in the section as far as having a nice, you know, lines and stuff. It's very technical in the middle section. There's a lot of sweeping bends. As we come into the final couple of corners here, we go into Chicada and onto almost the start-finish straight. As this track, there's going to be a lot of overtaking spots. There's a lot of sweeping handers, a lot of technical sections, but I think if anything's going to happen into any overtakes, if you can't get them on the long straightaway, it's going to have to be in the corners. But Toby, take us through the formations.
So here we go for the final formation lap of season number 7. It's obviously Christian Vrazilov who took pole position. The reigning world champion gives away the number 1 after today, but what can he do on his last time out in the number 1 car? He has Colin McAllister for company on the second row. The man could have won in Norway if luck was a bit more on his side. Kevin Jacobs, season number 4 championship, he'll line up inside of the top 3, hoping to gain some points in favour of Nemesis Team Racing Team's final Constructors Charge. He has Earl of Oddman company. Philip Blum is lining up in P6, and then championship favourite Elliot Hall has a fantastic qualifying, his best form in quite some time in qualifying here this weekend. P6 for him. Jonathan Guerrero lines up in P7, and Colin McAllister's teammate Gareth Lennon will line up alongside him in P number 8. Moving on to the next one is Ed Cantwell's teammate inside the top 10. Reinhard Ecker qualifies P9, and then Craig McDonald, the man of the brother who won last time out, the lead Macca this time out, lines up in the top 10. Zach Swader just behind those gentlemen in P number 11. Then our next championship contender, Jack Tolchard, lines up in P12. He will be looking to make some moves into the points. Josh Martin, his teammate, showing just behind him, showing that the sim staff is just about where they need to be. And then Ed Cantwell, the next championship favourite, all the way down in 14th. He's got a long day ahead of him. Anything can happen there. P15 for Toby Byrne, and he has Joshua Wood lining up alongside him in P16. His teammate, of course, in contention for the championship this afternoon. Craig Evans will line up in P17, and he has last week's race winner Tom McDonald in P18 for company. It's a disappointing result for Tom following his dominant win last time out in Argentina. Marcus Townend will line up in P19. Some cruel luck for him last time in Argentina. He'll be looking to right some wrongs. He has Callum Spencer for company in P20. Another disappointing result for the Welshman. Douglas Anderson will line up at P21, and the man who needs to win to have any championship chance here today lines up 22 and last. It'll have to be a last to first challenge for Andrew Pavia if that is going to be his day today. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a long afternoon for these gentlemen. There's so many permutations, and it's always spicy when we have to do the math on the fly. Brasilia, of course, last hosted an F1 Grand Prix in 1974, and that was won by Emerson Fittipaldi. And of course, we've discussed if Elliot Hall wins the championship today, he becomes the first rookie champion since none other than Nut Martinson. But enough about that. It's 5 red lights. For one last time in Season 7, we are underway, and it's lights out and away they go. It looks like Christian Vasilov has got a pretty decent start. Will he be able to fend off Colin McAllister? It's a drag race into turn number 1, and Christian Vasilov does hold on around the outside, and Colin McAllister slips in behind him. It looks like Olaf Oddman getting a pretty good start, but he's had to pull back behind Kevin Jacobs slightly. We can see some moves in the background. Elliot Hall being one of them, though. He's looking for P number 5 on this opening lap. Daring stuff from the rookie. He has to be patient here today. There's a lot at stake as we can see the cars thundering through the first sector, and Elliot Hall still on the attack, looking to get a move early on onto Olav Oddman. Is he going to be able to sneak up the inside of the Norwegian? Yes, he is. Meanwhile, his teammate going side by side with Philip Blum ahead. Sorry, no, that is Olav Oddman. Olav Oddman's had a move on Kevin Jacobs, and Philip Blum has dropped a couple of positions. So Elliot Hall up into P5 on the crucial opening lap, Zach.
Man, he wanted to make some moves quick to try to double his chances of making sure he gets the championship. Some might say that might have been too aggressive if he has to play damage limitations, because he does have the advantage over his closest rival, Ed Cantwell. As he gets a little bit loose there. That's going to drop some ground, but he's saved it coming out of the corner, though. He's going to be careful not to make any more mistakes off of that. As we take a look at Gareth Lennon getting a little slideways right there, he's going to be caught up with Zach Swader now, fighting for that 9th position. And so crazy start, but yeah, Elliot Hall definitely wanted to make some moves. He's going to try to make some more moves maybe, but he's going to have to be patient, Toby. He's going to have to be patient.
He's in a very good position to win here. He doesn't need to throw anything away for silliness. Ed Cantwell, Jack Tolchard, they've had difficult starts because Craig McDonald has moved up into P11. But now Jack Tolchard looking to right some wrongs to go up the inside of his championship rival of Craig McDonald. Both of these gentlemen are in the title fight. And oh, it's a sideways slap for Jack Tolchard. He holds on to it though, doing well on that occasion. Now he has his teammate for Josh Martin of company. You'd like to think these two will lead together, will fight together. Simstaff leading the Constructors' Championship, of course, coming into here. And we've seen these two come together a time or two. That is something they definitely do not want to do today. These gentlemen will want to keep calm and move up into the points to try secure that Constructors' victory. Meanwhile, Craig McDonald looking to make a move on Zach Swader all the way around the outside to get his championship permutations on the way. Can he do it? No! Shown the door by Zach Swader, who holds him off on this occasion, but he's still there. We're riding on board with the Brit, trying to go all the way around the outside of Zach Swader. Is he going to be able to do so? No. Okay, pulls back behind, now looking to the inside of Zach Swader. Craig McDonald on the fringes of the points, up the inside of Zach Swader he goes, and there's a little bit of contact. Around he goes. Craig McDonald, a very early casualty in the championship battle. He'll slide all the way down to last, I think, Zach, and that is heartbreak. This afternoon just got a hell of a lot longer for Craig McDonald.
Yeah, he caught the curbing trying to get on the inside of Zach. He had it, but then just got a little too greedy, caught the curbing, and made some contact with Zach. It looks like he doesn't have much damage, though, with Zach, but he's coming under pressure. That contact might have slowed him, though, but he's coming under pressure from second place Ed Cantwell, fighting to try to gain through the ground to chase down a chance at Elliott Hall, but he's got a lot more ground to make up as he's down in 15th. But yeah, he just caught the curbing and just tried to get a little too greedy, but that was just unfortunate circumstances for Craig McDonald as we're fighting down all the way back into last place now. So as we're going through the field now, as everybody still fighting, everybody's in a pack of cars, and this is like for 17th. That's Toby Byrne that we're watching here. Says Craig's brother Tom is going to try to make a move on one of the Team Disconnect cars. That is, of course, Ed Cantwell. So Ed Cantwell losing more ground, and that's not what he needs. So he's going to have to get the power down. But as we're taking a look now at this right here, it looks like Colin McAllister is going to make a move on Kevin Jacobs now. And I'm wondering, though, if Kevin Jacobs can try to play a little bit of team games as he is ahead of Elliott Hall. He's going to try to slow these guys up ahead so that way he does help Elliott into the championship. But as you can tell, he's losing a bit of ground against Colin McAllister. But in between the two Nemesis team cars is, of course, Olav Bodvin. So could we see some team games from Nemesis Racing? Of course, these guys won't be on the grid next season, so we will have to see what these guys do as a little bit of slide-aways for both of these. So maybe we might see some team games if Kevin Jacobs can help out Elliott Hall for the championship.
Of course, remember, Nemesis Racing Team is in contention for that Constructors title as well, and they would really like to win it on their last ever outing. Of course, their 58th and final AIC race here this afternoon. They'd love nothing more than to top it off with a championship victory, and they're in a good position to do so at the moment. They're in 3rd and 5th, which would net them 25 points, which I believe, as it currently stands, would pit them just ahead of Simstaff. So it's a long way to go. It's lap 4 of 15. Olav Odvin looks like he might be getting a little bit of his mojo back and looking to pursue Kevin Jacobs ahead, but he is firmly in a Nemesis Racing Team sandwich. Elliott Hall would do well to just take his time here. There's no reason. Of course, two minds. Elliott Hall look obviously going for the Drivers' Championship, but like I said, there's a Teams Championship at stake here as well, so be interesting to see where the Nemesis Drivers' head is at, but you'd like to think, in at least the case of Elliott Hall, that there will be the driver's mind at the forefront of that for the driver's title. Nevertheless, it looks like losing a little bit of ground to Elliott Hall. Elliott Hall gaining through this complex middle sector. This is a sector where you've got to be so patient on the throttle. Just let the car come to you. This is where it's going to be really working out the tyres, and then you get a pretty decent opportunity to overtake down the first straight and the second straight, which you say is one of the longest straights on our calendar as we come through the final corner to begin lap number 5 of the final race of season number 7. And looking up and down the field, we can see some closer gaps throughout the field, but everyone just sort of at the moment in a little bit of a management phase. I'm sure there's a lot of action to come. As we can see, Tom McDonald thought about it for a moment there, didn't he? That would have been a very late move on Craig Evans, but now he'll get a second bite of the cherry. Going down the second start-finish straight, but I think Craig Evans might have DRS on Joshua Wood ahead, so that might help him defend coming into this next corner, and yes, it does. Tom McDonald, last time's race winner, just having to be a little bit more patient, and of course, this is not something he had to do in Argentina. He didn't have to think about going around and following traffic. He's looking to the inside this time around. We're running on the back of Craig Evans, who's gone wide. Craig Evans, bang! Wow! Craig Evans is into the wall. We have our first casualty. What happened there? I really don't know. Craig Evans is into the wall. That's going to be a position back for Craig McDonald. We have our first virtual safety car, and is that Craig Evans out? Yes, it is. What on earth happened there?
Well, if I have to guess, he probably washed out wide. As we take a look now, we're on board with him. But as, of course, Tom got onto the inside, they were going side by side into the corner. I think Craig maybe just tried to give him some space just to play nice. But yeah, the car just steps out and just, oh, wow, just bangs into the tire wall. Lucky he didn't bounce in front of anybody else. So thankfully, he stayed right where he was. But yeah, the car, he just stepped out. And just, yeah, the car just went. There was pretty much out of passengers at that point. I didn't see anything wrong that Craig did. It was just the car just didn't want to take the corner. He was just trying his best to maintain his position. He gave Tom plenty of room, and yeah, just the car just went. So loss of grip, loss of aerodynamics, something. So unusual mistake, but I don't think that was much of Craig's fault. I think he just got let down by his car. So see what happens on board with Dan Cantwell. I think, yeah, he's behind these two, so this will play dividends. That's one extra spot for him to chase down Elliott Hall. As you see, Tom and Craig up ahead. And just watch, yep, the car just steps out, bang, hits the tire wall, and thankfully he didn't bounce back again, as I said. So, unfortunate circumstances for Craig. I don't think it was much of his fault. I think the car just decided not to go anymore. But Unfortunately, that's going to be the first VSC of this race. Could not be the last, as we're back under green. We're on board with Jonathan Carrero chasing down Philip Blum, and he's ahead of Reinhard Eckert. So John has had a rough season, so he was wanting to get as many points as he can to try to bounce into next season as we go into the hypercar season next year. So maybe he might be able to do better at some sports car racing, but he's had a terrible season as we're actually getting some first pit stops, Toby. I can imagine that these left side tires are taking a beating around this track.
We're just underneath half race distance, and we've seen how quickly it can all go awry, so maybe that's played into the minds of some people to get off and get some fresh rubber. I think in the case of Craig, wow, we have someone around there. Who is that? Olav Odven has spun around. He's getting back underway. Wow, just getting behind the sim staffs there. Something has happened to Olav Odven. He was running up in the podium positions. What's happened to Olav Odven? It's causing a little bit of... That car is heavily damaged. He needs to park up and get out of the way. He's causing a little bit of chaos here as everyone tries to filter their way around him. One of these wheels on the front, I don't believe is fully connected. Look at the car's steering wheel. It's just crabbing. And of course, another safety car has been called until Olav Odven decides what he's doing. There's a bit of a traffic jam now. Will be some confusion because it's under safety car conditions. Can you pass or can you not pass? A lot of teams will be discussing this with their engineers to describe what is going on. There's a race control announcement. Yes, a black and orange flag has been called for Olav Odven, which means get out of the way and get parked up. Or if you can make it back to the pits, of course, you have to come in. You're compelled now to come in and get a pit. But obviously, a lot of confusion here, Zach. Everyone's trying to figure out their way around him. He's a little bit of a train, and that's going to play havoc with the strategy. But we've gone green once again.
Yeah, in iRacing terms, Olaf's been showing the meatball flag, but yeah, I don't know what he's going through. I mean, I can understand maybe trying to get to the pits, but his left front tire, it was not connected. That's pretty much a DNF, but the rest of these guys are trying to take an advantage of maybe having a decent pit stop with the VSC, but unfortunately, they're just a little bit late when the VSC ended, so normally that would give them a free pit stop, but unfortunately for them, as Jonathan Crow is going to take the race lead at the moment as he's going to stay out. You can see the downforce in that as we have another VSC. What's happening now? We'll have to try to get a view. I don't know what's going on now, so this could be something else that's happened. As going through, not sure what is going on. I'm pretty sure our cameras are trying to pick it up. As we can tell, I think possibly... could be, I don't know. This is very weird, Toby. I'm not sure what's going on, but we have another VSC, so another shakeup. This is definitely turning out to be interesting.
Well, here is your green flag situation. Colin McAllister has come out in the lead of that pit lane squabble, and this is your battle for net first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all flying in formation here, and it's Colin McAllister, the big winner in that little attempt there out of the pit lane. We can see this is Philip Blum looking to the inside of one of the Macca Motorsport cars, and around he goes. Huge accident into turn one. Who was that? Philip Blum is out. He's our next victim. Just a lap after the safety car was called. We're still under racing conditions. It looks like he's got well enough out of the way for them to continue to be happy to continue with racing. Another huge smash in very quick succession, and Elliot Hall is in the thick of it. There's a lock-up for Kevin Jacobs ahead. Elliot Hall is getting himself into some very dangerous territory here. This is where championships can come undone with just a small mistake, but rightfully he's held on to it. Another car's gone. Jonathan Guerrero into the fence.
He was leading because he stayed out when everybody else pitted. So we are definitely in a race of attrition now. So if you're Nemesis right now, you are as we have a gaggle of cars right now, as you said in front, as we can see, Olav is still on the track. He has still yet to either get to the pits or stop, and I'm pretty sure race control are not going to be happy with Olav Odven, as he is just causing a commotion on the racetrack. I have no idea why he's still on the track. I can understand. And we have Toby. What is this, the first red flag that we've ever had in the AIC? Because I cannot remember the last time we have ever had one. What is going on?
That is our first red flag in the ISR AIC history, and rightly so. Olav Odven has been disqualified. That might be our first ever disqualification in the ISR AIC for ignoring the black and orange flag. We just had a crazy sequence of events, Zach. We had two cars crash on the same lap. We had Olav getting involved, and the stewards have obviously gone, look, things are crazy. We've got too many accidents happening at once. We need a minute to settle down. We have our championship live standings here. Elliot Hall's still in the lead at the moment, but here's going to be some replays, Zach. This is what's happened to Olav that's gotten him into this situation. He's come through turn one, looking like he was a little bit wide, and that is, who's that behind us? It's a Nemesis racing car, so it might be Elliot, it might be Kevin. Someone's up the inside, and He's just, oh wow, very similar to Craig actually. He's gone wide, and I think there's some pretty severe marbles on this circuit, and he's just understeer wide. Obviously, he's wanted to keep going. I don't really know, I mean, I can't really think of an argument here to go against all of Obvid's disqualification there, Zach, but yeah, Olaf's got some pretty severe damage. He's caused some more severe damage by getting disqualified in the final ever race, and there he goes, just wide in turn 1.
Yeah, as we're on board, this happened right in front of our championship leader, Elliott Hall, as he's actually going to try to get on the inside, and yeah, he just goes, same situation as Craig, just, until he hit the wall, it wasn't as violent as Craig. Craig had that snap. But let's take a look at onboard at Jack Tolchard. This could have been what our camera was picking up earlier, and actually, yeah, that was right in front of Jack Tolchard of Volvov trying to rejoin with somewhat of a controversial broken car. So, yeah, very unfortunate circumstances. And Jack decides he wants to go and have a little off-roading adventure himself. So this could also have been what our cameras were trying to pick up earlier when we had that weird yellow flag situation. And here's Josh Martin. So something has happened to both of the sim staff cars as he goes off the track. So, yeah, I'm wondering, this could be this is reminding me of what happened in Monaco in the Formula One earlier this year, where we had, the track coming apart. But I think, as you said, there's probably some marbles or something, and it's catching these guys out. And I think that could play dividends. Either race control wanted to get those marbles cleared, so that way there's no abnormal effects. And wow, Philip just snapped when he hit the curb. That wasn't anything with the track or anything more. He just got a little bit too inside of the curb. So same situations as we've seen earlier. As we're taking a look at Tom McDonald, I believe that, yeah, this is who Philip was going to be trying to make the overtake on. As we're coming down onto the French straightaway, as Philip goes to the inside, snaps onto the curbing, and yeah, when you get into an open wheel car onto these types of curbs, they do not like it. These ain't no sports cars. When you got to be very, very careful when you go on a track with a very kind of high curves. And take a look at Jonathan Carrero. Watch this car just snap. We saw the tail end of that. That car just snapped, and that's a violent sort of Max Verstappen 2021 violent contact to the wall, as he was going at a decent amount of speed through some of these sweepers. So very heavy hit for Jonathan Carrero, as now we're on board with Craig McDonald to see what this view comes into effect. As we're going in, another washout, and same situation as Josh Martin. Yeah, this has just been an insane first half of this race. So now we're on board with Andrew Brevier. He started last in this race, and see if he gets a good view of one of the cars up ahead taking for a spin. I believe that is actually both of the Macca Motorsport cars up ahead, so that's, I believe, both Tom and Craig McDonald. As, yeah, there you see he goes wide, and see you later, sunshine. That is just, you definitely, you look at that as a car driver behind and be like, wow, what is going on? But it looks like we're having our restart, Toby. So how many cars we got? 15 cars left on the grid. This is going to be very interesting for the rest of this race.
Here we go for the second time this afternoon. The final of Season 7 is underway, and this time it's Colin McAllister versus Kevin Jacobs off the line, heading into Turn 1. Who's got a better launch of the two of them? It's Colin McAllister holding on the outside line. The sunset coming down on a fruitful campaign, on a fruitful season, as we look to the final 7 laps sprint. Everyone opting for the medium compound of tyre to get them to the end of this race. Reinhard Ecker has climbed up into 5th place and is immediately on the offensive, looking to try and go up the inside of Christian Vrazilov. Nothing doing though. Slots back behind. We see Callum Spencer started in P20 this afternoon. That red flag has brought him up into position of P8, battling for P7 with Douglas Anderson looking to go all the way around the outside. The two Formula One themes of Jordan and ART going around in ART West, and Christian Vazilov still under tremendous pressure then from Reinhard Ecker, who's looking to go all the way around the outside. As we can see, Zach, Elliott Hall now getting involved in this scrap.
Yeah, he is in a definitely bad spot if I was Elliott right now, because Ed Cantwell is currently 10th. So not enough for him to, overtake Elliott to make into the championship. But oh no! Elliott Hall has just spun! That is going to be huge dividends for the championship. So now it's all to play for, as Elliott Hall got onto the curb, makes a spin. He is now in effectively what is dead last now. So, but he keeps going, so he is going to need an absolute now miracle. But Ed Cantwell is in 9th, so he would effectively get 2 points. So as it stands, Elliott and Ed would be tied. But here's the thing. Ed Cantwell has 0 wins. So if these two tie, Elliott is still your championship because it would be based on wins. So Ed has no wins this season. So effectively, Elliott is still a champion if Ed finishes in 9th, but that is just, I can understand Elliott's had a rough season, but this is not what he needed, Toby.
He has effectively taken the championship out of his own hands through being completely and utterly irresponsible in a way. It's so impatient. I don't really know what he was doing under pressure there to try just be aggressive as he can and hope for the best. I'm really unsure why he's gone for such a risky move. We saw Craig McDonald pull that off and failed earlier. This wasn't really even the same accident. Craig McDonald spun on the curb. It looked like Elliott Hall made contact with the ART and that sent him around, but look at the consistency of this man. Ed Cantwell, round 6, second. Round 7, second. He had a bit of a bum race in Norway, but then right back to the podium. You cannot be giving a man who is this consistent on form these opportunities, Zach. This is huge. Ed Cantwell now has some work to do, of course. Like we say, he has to score more than 2 points. He needs to finish at least 8th in this race to win the title. Of course, Elliott Hall will win on countback if they finish on equal points. So, Ed Cantwell has Toby Byrne, ironically, Elliott Hall's uncle, to pass in order to do that. So it's a bit of a battle for the family for Toby Byrne to hold off Ed Cantwell in the final, what is now the final 4 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Where on earth has that gone? We can see Marcus Townend is making some moves, catching up to Kevin Jacobs. But again, put this into perspective, that's another big swing in the Constructors' Championship. Nemesis now only have a single car in the points when both sim staffs who they could have overtaken today are out of the race. This is absolutely crazy stuff, and we have 4 laps to go in Season 7.
I tell you what, if you are not a fan of this racing, then you definitely will be now, because this is probably coming down to one of the most exciting races we have ever had in the AIC. In all of history that we have been doing this, and just think as, I don't know if somebody spun or got loose right there, as we take a look at Elliott Hall now, trying to claw back. He's about almost 4.5 seconds behind Andrew Previer, who got caught up in a lot of that mess after he pitted. So effectively, as Marcus Townend is now in the podium spot, so as he's going to try to take a chance at Kevin Jacobs, as Kevin gets a little snappy on the tail end here, but this has all been blown up. It could go either way now, because as you said, Ed has to get past his uncle of Elliott Hall's uncle, Toby Byrne, who is a very, very feisty defender when it comes to down to it. So Ed still got a lot of fight to do. He's got to make some moves to try to get around Toby to effectively get the extra few points that he needs, because he has 0 wins, while Elliott has the wins needed if they're supposed to go on a countback, as you say. So it's all to play for, and the team championships as well. You've got SimStaff, who you said has DNF both of these cars. Team Disconnect now have a chance to try and actually win the team standings if, of course, Elliott can't be able to make any more points into this. If we don't have another VSC, another red flag restart, anything can still happen in these final few laps. So yeah, we have definitely got this. Colin Spencer almost comes up a little bit of contact with Dougie Anderson, just slightly, or actually I think that was Christian Raslov, but Dougie is right behind him. So Spen obviously in a ART sandwich at the moment, so close call for him. But I tell you one thing, this is not over, folks, and it's only going to get better from here.
As we look up to the sign, lap 5 of 7, Douglas Anderson now has an opportunity, coming out of the final corner. P7 looking for P6 against his old former rival of Callum Spencer, of course battling many a season with his teammates, usually Carrera and Anderson we see together in the terms of the ART JRC hot seat, but this time it is Callum Spencer, a little bit more experience on the shoulders of Spencer, who's had a disappointing season but has an opportunity for some good points here this afternoon. There is 2 laps remaining and I am on the edge of my seat. Marcus Townend is really pressuring. It is just a train from Jacobs down. McAllister's checked out. He's had a fantastic restart. As we look at the previous race winners, of course, we were just talking about Jonathan Guerrero. He won the last time out in season number 6. Byrne, who's battling in P number 8, is the man who can decide the title today. He won in season number 5. As it looks like we have some movement, we've got a spin. Tom McDonald has gone around, and it looks like it's not going to be Macca Motorsports Day. We have a virtual safety car, Zach. It is going to be a 2-lap sprint to the end of season 7. You think it can't get any more dramatic, and it just finds a way. We can see, it looks like Burns closed up to the back of Anderson in this latest stint, so Where is Cantwell? Cantwell's a little bit further back, and Byrne looking to get the optimal line for the restart here, but Cantwell is there, and he'll be hoping in some way that these two do battle in front of him. But there's so much to consider and so little time to do it, Zach.
It definitely is, because you might think 2 laps is a long time, but 2 laps can go by in an instant, and this is it may be a technical track, but it's very fast. So 2 laps is going to go by very quick. So if Ed Cantwell wants to try to get this championship, he needs to put the pedal down and just go after it now, because he is running out of time. He has just about just under half a second now, as he is actually getting a little bit closer to the gearbox of Toby Byrne. I think Toby had a slight mishap, probably caught napping on that VSC. So now he is coming under the clutches. So this will be for the championship if he can get around Toby. But no, Ed makes a mistake coming into the corner and loses a lot of time. He is effectively now just a second, as we're taking a look now at the win. And it looks like one of the, that was, I believe that was Reinhard Ecker. And ouch! Now we've got cars bouncing all over the place, as Reinhard Ecker, who was doing very well, is now we got Dougie into the grass as well. Andrew finding a way to go around these guys. So this is definitely the round of attrition. But now Elliott Hall, if he can get around Zach, that's effectively, there. But Ed Cantwell now moves into 7. So like I said, this is going to be insane, as the race of attrition is knocking out people, and it's effectively now putting Elliott back into contention, but Ed Cantwell has gained more spots. So let's take a look and see what happened with Reinhard Ecker here, as we're coming into the fast sweeper, and yeah, the car just, like everybody else so far today, just washes up the racetrack and gets nailed. I'm going to assume that was Colin Spencer that we saw, or Dougie Anderson, one of them. I think that actually might have been Dougie, because he was battling with Colin, but I didn't see, Spen. So here we go. Actually, no, this was Christian Razaloff. So one of the ARTs goes in and probably just has nowhere to go, as we're going to see right here into the corner. There we see. Okay, yeah, so that was Dougie that ended up hitting, because Razaloff was right behind, and ouch. That is a very, very heavy hit. And that's definitely something that you don't want to see, because that was effectively front wing to side pod. This is going to be a wild ride, folks. So here we go. We're on board with Dougie. Here comes... Oh, man. Eesh, that is definitely nothing he could do. Nothing he could do.
That is huge for the title, by the way. I mean, I know this is a very obvious thing to say, Zach, but this is the man it's huge for. Ed Cantwell, like you say, he made a mistake, and it looked like that could be it. He lost the ground. He would now have to spend the rest of the lap just hoping to get back in Byrne's DRS. Byrne had done his job at this point, but coming into this corner, ironically, it's his teammate who's gone off, caused the catastrophic incident, and he's very lucky that he didn't get involved in it himself. He just manages to squeeze through. But yes, crucially, Ed needed P8 to win the championship. He's now in P7. That means the championship permutation, meant Elliott Hall cannot afford to lose more than 2 points to Ed Cantwell. You get 6 points for finishing in P number 7, I believe. So Elliott, simply put, Zach, needs to finish in P8. And right now, I don't see it. There's not enough time. Elliott Hall has got Zach Swader ahead of him. Of course he has. But look at that. There you go. Ed Cantwell will be championship this race. In this stage, Elliott Hall isn't even in the points yet, let alone getting anywhere near to P8. This is absolutely crazy. We're starting the final lap of the race, and he's got to somehow finish 3 positions ahead of where he is. He has Swader, Pavia, Wood. This man has the destiny in his own hands, but there's still other battles to be decided on the track. There's a freeway battle act going on into the next sector. It's Townend, Vrazilov and Spencer, who are all holding on till the very death for the final podium spot. Vrazilov trying to get on the podium one last time as the defending champion. Callum Spencer looking to pick up the scraps from a messy qualifying. Marcus Townend could have been in the championship contention this weekend if he didn't DNF in Argentina. He's looking to put that right wrong, as we have another car going off. Kevin Jacobs has gone off the circuit. That's more positions to take into consideration.
Yeah, Ed Cantwell's going to go right by, as this is now going to be a VSC, so I think we could see this race end under a virtual safety car if I believe we just don't have enough time to get back going, I don't think. It depends on where they are on the track. Yep. Oh, Toby, yeah, he is gone as well, so something happened between those two, so that means more positions for Ed Cantwell, who is now 5th, and Elliott Hall is finally in the points, but he is 9th. So that is definitely not enough when we're going to get a final few corner scrap as we're back under green. But throughout the race of attrition, one man who is now effectively 5-6 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, Colin McAllister, will end up winning this race. But we still got many more stuff to scrap out as Elliott makes a move to into 8th. But that was long ago. He does not need that position anymore. He needs higher. But Colin is going to win this race in an insane race of attrition in the final race of this season, as it looks like the man who will be the first time winning a championship with 0 wins, Ed Cantwell, will be our Season 7 champion. Wow. What a absolute luck that this man needed. We talked about it. And Lady Luck is smiling on Ed Cantwell, Toby. He is going to be absolutely happy with this one.
This felt very reminiscent of Sebastian Vettel. We knew the answer, but we had to wait for this man to cross the line to confirm it. There it is. It is heartbreak for a weekend that really wasn't much his fault apart from the DNF. It costs him everything, though. Ed Cantwell has been the hunter for the entire season. He's not taken a single race victory. He's not led a single part of the championship. He has been the hunter from start to finish. It all comes together in the end in one of the most chaotic, crazy, dramatic races I have ever seen in the ISR AIC, and it's Ed Cantwell who wins it all at the end, and it is absolutely magnificent. What a comeback drive by Ed Cantwell to take a very well-deserved championship.
What a fantastic race, what a fantastic outcome, as you could not think. If we look back and see at race number 1 in Australia, if you were to tell me that our champion this season would not win a single race this season and end up winning the championship, that just shows you what consistency does. And if you play your cards right and just have a little bit of luck as he needed today, because we had a lot of DNFs today and just a lot of chaos going on today in this race, it has definitely shown that you can have 0 wins and still win the championship. So what a fantastic achievement for Ed Cantwell. As we take a look at the top 3, nothing to take away from Ed Cantwell winning the championship, but Colin McAllister will take the win in what was a insane race of attrition. Marcus Townend 2nd and Christian Braslov 3rd, with some more podiums headed their way. So good job for them. Wow. This has by far been the most excited race of the outcome, and you know next season is going to be through. But Toby, take us through the results.
Colin McAllister finally claims a victory, something cruelly denied of him in Norway. He finally gets redemption here today. Marcus Townend, a very well-earned P number 2. What could have been if he didn't DNF in Argentina? That could have been the championship result here today. And Christian Braslov, we said it's his final time. He's no longer our defending champion, but it was his final time today. He gets one last podium with the number 1 car. Cam Spencer comes from P20 to P4. It's another fantastic result. Reminds me of when he went from P20 to P6 in Brunner. Goes one better, 2 better this time with P4. And there is your champion, Ed Cantwell. P number 5, gaining 10 points. Andrew Pavia goes from last to 6th, by the way. Nothing to take away from Andrew Pavia here today. Fantastic result from the American. He needed a bit more luck than what was on offer today. Zach Swade to P7. The man who it all fell away from P8 in the form of Elliot Hall. And then you have the last of us rounding out the top 10. And then it is Kevin Jacobs DNFing on the final lap, was it? Or the second to last lap. Heartbreaking for Kevin Jacobs. That was a guaranteed podium. Douglas Anderson P13, of course. Reinhard Ecker getting in calling that. And believe it or not, that is it for our finishers. Douglas Anderson and Reinhard Ecker DNFs, as was Kevin Jacobs. So this entire second page, Zach, did not finish the race today. We had a red flag involved. We had our first, I think potentially our first black and orange flag. We definitely had our first black flag in the form of Olav Oddbjørn. But here you are in black and white, fresh print, news of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Cantwell is your champion of the world for season number 7 by 4 points to Elliot Hall. We talked about Marcus Townend. He wasn't in the championship contention today, remember, Zach. He finishes P3 anyway, just pipping Andrew Pavia, who with a good result lines up in P4 here today. Jack Tolchard and Craig McDonald fall to P5 and P6 respectively. Then it's Gareth Lennon, Josh Martin, the defending champion, finishing in the top 10 for P9 of Christian Braslov, tying on points and finishing just ahead on best result ahead of Olav Oddbjørn, rounding out your top 10. And that is a historical top 10, Zach, for another historical season of the ISR AIC.
And we have had it all this season, and obviously this has gone down to be the best race this season, but we've had, let me just speak about Elliott. Yeah, he had some bad luck, but he's shown off to be probably one of the fastest rookies that we've had since we've started AIC, and that just shows you that he still needs a little bit more experience as we're going through the rest of the standings. Zach Swader finishing just outside the top 10, finally getting a win, of course, in Germany for the first time this season. So fantastic job for him. Toby Byrne, who could have had to play for the championship, but just did get, I think, knocked out at the end of the race. So could have been on some more points, probably could have overtook Zach. And Joshua Wood, who won the first race this season, I believe, but just fell apart after that. He just could not find the rhythm, could not find the groove. Tom McDonald and Colin McAllister, who won today, of course, getting that revenge from Norway. And Douglas Anderson, of course, finishing 16th. Reinhard Eckert in 17th. Colin Spencer, who, also with his teammate of Jonathan Groves, had a miserable season. This is going to be a definitely season to forget, as he tied with Craig in points with 25 points. And there you see the final two of Jonathan Crow and Philip Blum, who has had very horrible seasons. So they're definitely going to be looking for some more footing into next season as we go hypercar racing. So yeah, an amazing season from start to finish. We couldn't have expected this race to be like it was, but definitely one for the record books.
Absolutely, and there they are. There are your top three at the end of a very hard-fought season, and that's not the only championship we decided today. SimStaff are your official ISR AIC Season 7 team champions, claiming as their outfit. They've had a few name changes since, but that's the second time, I believe. I might even be the first. I'd have to double check. I think it might actually be Northern Lights. I get confused when Josh Martin was still driving for Northern Lights Racing. So congratulations to SimStaff and on the same. Team Disconnect came very close though, just 5 points behind, and then Scuderia Alitalia RN finished up in P3, JR Mobile 1 P4, Nemesis Racing, it all fell apart once again, but again, that is because Elliott Hall carried them for the majority of the season. They line up in P5 in their final ever season, just edging out Macca Motorsport by a single point. Then it's CGM Motorsport, ART West, Northern Lights Racing, Norwegian American Racing, and Benson and Hedges JSR lining out your grid. Great job, by the way, for CGM Motorsport with Colin McAllister's win. They jump ahead of Northern Lights Racing and ART West in the final round of the season. They were trailing around in 10th for most of the season. But what a fantastic battle we've had in both championships, Zach. It has truly been something to behold, and I can only imagine next season is going to be just as crazy.
It definitely will be, and all I can say is obrigado Brazil for a insane race. Every time we come to Brazil, it's always something special here. We never know what's going to happen, but I want to give a huge shout out and a big grazie mille to, of course, Team Nemesis, and I'm pretty sure Valerian Campagnari can be proud of what he came with. Of course, this will be the last time that they will be in the AIC, so we cannot thank them enough for being a part of this series, and we wish Valeria nothing but the best for whatever endeavor that he goes through the rest of his motorsports journey. And yeah, I cannot wait for the hypercars, Toby. The first time in a long time we've had a type of closed cockpit type of racing, and there's going to be different manufacturers, different types of options, and many different tracks, of course, as always. But I cannot wait to see what happens. But a big congratulations to Ed Cantwell for doing the impossible, and that's winning the championship with 0 wins. A very, very well-deserved champion.
Reflecting those thoughts, and of course from me to everyone watching at home, and from the entire ISR AIC team to everyone watching at home, thank you so much again for your viewership this season. Thank you to all the drivers for competing, to all the teams from competing, and for every one of you who's been involved in the journey along the way. We're going to take a break, we're going to take our off season now, but make sure you enjoy your time off, because there will be no time to waste when we get going again next time out. Until then, for one last time, I've been Toby Byrne, this has been Zach Swader, and until season number 8, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
There is a star that lights the road. Will it take me to the end? Well, I don't know. But for one last time, I'll take this ride and just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I'll take it to the edge where I live 1,000 lives. But maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just drive. drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. Take it to the edge and ride, live the thousand lives. But maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just there's a star that lights the road. Will it take me to the end? Well, I don't know. And just drive.